Okay, look, this is Maurice Bay, and I'm gonna try to break it down to you in this video exactly what you need to do to get your CDL. I get a lot of comments on my YouTube videos with random questions in reference to what has to be done to get your CDL. So I'm gonna break it down to you in as simple and direct a fashion as I can to tell you exactly what you need to do. And I tell you what, I'll link you up to a few resources in the description. You can make sure you check the description at the end of this video because I wanna help you with that if that's what you want to get done. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay it out for you in 3 simple steps, exactly what you need to do to get your CDL, and so you can get out here on the interstates and get to driving. All right. Here's step 1. The first thing you need to do is you need to know the DMV requirements and the cost for your particular state. Not a requirement. What I mean is, you know, what age you need to be in your state, what your driving record, what your current driving record needs to be in your state before you apply, before you try to get a CDL, and whether you need schooling or not. You know, you need to know the cost of the different tests, the cost of the CLP, the Commercial Learner's Permit exam, and you need to know the cost of the road test for your particular state. All of that stuff you want to find out from them. You need to know all of that, okay? Now, I want to give you a couple of quick tips on schooling. As far as schooling, you also need to know if your potential employer is going to require schooling from you, okay? So if you're, now all states don't require schooling. I'm in Virginia. That's a state that doesn't require you to go to truck driving school. So if you're in a state where you got to go to truck driving school, then all of these questions, all the stuff that I'm going over with you will probably be answered once you get in driving school. But if you're in a state where you are not required to go to driving school and you're thinking about not going to driving school, you need to know after you get your CDL, you need to know from your potential employer whether they will hire someone that has not gone to school or not. Okay, you need to simply just call around to the ads that you see in the Craigslist and on the newspaper or whatever in your area, in your state. Call around for the over-the-road companies, the regional companies, and the local companies, the companies that don't go out of state, and find out from them whether they will hire a driver fresh off of getting their CDL and they didn't go to driving school. Find out from them, okay? And if you get a few responses and they tell you, yeah, there's something they can do with you, then you'll know how to go with the next step. If everybody tells you, nah, you need schooling, then you know what direction you need to go in. Now, what happened with me, I went to driving school, okay? I live in Virginia, as I said. I paid to go to driving school. And I knew while I was in driving school that I was gonna be driving for the family business, for my dad once I got out of school. So I wasn't dealing with the aspect of having to figure out somewhere to work after I got out of driving school, okay? So I didn't have to find employers that would hire me, okay? Fresh out for getting my CDL. So, but you need to know if the employer that you're planning on working with will hire someone that hasn't gone to school, that just got their CDL, okay? Another tip on schooling, if you're in a state that doesn't require schooling, if you're planning on working for a big company after you get your license, a lot of the big companies have their own schools. And so you would have the option, I'm not 100% sure, but I would think that you would have the option to either attend driving school for free if you're planning on working for the company after you get out of school, or they'll be able to take it out of your check. Either way, you wouldn't have to come out of pocket to go to driving school. But if you're not planning on working with one of the big companies that sponsor their own driving school, then you would have to pay to go to a driving school. Okay, you're talking about $2,500, $3,000, $5,000, maybe $6,000. Check around in your area, see the cheap, find out the one that's the cheapest. As far as picking one, essentially all driving schools are kind of going to give you the same information. The purpose of the driving school is to make sure the driver knows what he needs to know in order to be able to go to the DMV or pass the DMV learner's permit exam and the road skills test. That's the job of the school. So if you got a school, what I'm saying is if you got a school that's not giving their students the information that they need to be able to pass, I would assume that that school is not in business. So that's what I mean when I say all of them are pretty much going to offer the same information, because it's information that they need to offer that's being it's statewide, essentially. So all driving schools are going to offer you the information that you need in order to be able to go and pass your CDL test. You know, some of them, you know, may offer you more, may have more behind the wheel time or whatever. But you want to check around to the driving schools, find out the cheapest one, find out, you know, the length of time that you're going to need to go to each one, and that's pretty much all the time that you need to put into picking a driving school. All of them will kind of give you the same information. Okay. The next step you need to work with is you need to get your medical card, and then you need to pass your commercial learner's permit exam. That's step 2, okay? The cost of getting your medical card, I got mine from a Minute Clinic, which is right inside of a CVS pharmacy in my area. I think the cost was a little bit less than $150 to go in and get my medical exam. They just testing you for sugar and things like that in your urine. It's real simple to do. You set it up, like I say, you pay $150, you walk out of there with your medical card. Once you got your medical card, you can actually have your commercial learner's permit, and you would be able to go out on the road. You need to have a medical card to go behind the wheel of a truck. So that's why I'm saying that you should get your medical card before you go to take your commercial learner's permit exam. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. Medical card, you got it. Now you need to start studying the book. You need to get the DMV book from the DMV. In Virginia, there's 2 of them. There's a DMV trucker DMV book, and there's a supplement to the CDL manual as well. I meant to say CDL manual, not trucker book, but I apologize. There's a CDL manual, and there's a supplement to the CDL manual in Virginia. So you need to start studying the book. The book is going to tell you what sections you need to be studying. You're going to take a general knowledge portion of your commercial learner's permit exam, which is, I believe, either 50 or 60 questions. It was, maybe 2.5, 3 years since I took mine. And then there's an air brake section where there's either 25 to 30 questions, and then there is a combination vehicle section where there's either 25 or 30 questions. You can miss a few questions on either section, but you can't miss a bunch. If you want your hazmat endorsement or any of the other stuff, tanker endorsement, any of that stuff, then you're going to have to take another test or different test as well. Same thing for school bus. School bus, I think, is a different test, but you may not have to take the air brake or the combination test if you're taking a school bus test, hypothetically. So, but you need to be studying the book. Now, I'm going to also link you to an application and a few other resources down in the description. So make sure you go down there and check that when you finish watching this video. But I'm going to link you to a resource page that I have a link to it, an application called CDL Prep. Which is it's an application that I studied to help me internalize and memorize the information that I was studying, that I was going over in the book. The information in that application is 98% just like the information that's on the general knowledge, that's on the different portions of the commercial learner's permit exam when you go and take your written exam. So study the application. You can take practice tests. You can take as many as you want to until you get to the point that you can pass. Once you can pass that a few times on the application, those different tests, those different sections of the test, then you should be ready to, you should be able to go and get your commercial learner's permit. And that, just to throw that out there, that is just a written exam. I actually didn't know that before I started the process of getting my CDL, that just to get your commercial learner's permit was just an exam, just a written exam, okay? So all you gotta do is study up on that, pass the test, get your medical card, and now you have your learner's permit. So now you can go out on the road. Now, as far as going out on the road, of course, if you're not in school, you're gonna need someone's truck, or you're gonna need access to a truck, of course, to practice and do all of this different stuff on. If you're in school, then of course you're gonna be able to use the school's equipment, which they should have equipment. I would think that all of the different schools have equipment. You're gonna be able to use their equipment to practice this stuff on. Now, Here's what needs to happen in order for you to be able to go from getting your learner's permit to actually getting your CDL, okay? You need to pass the walk around, you need to pass the inspection, the vehicle inspection, which consists of a walk around inspection, the outside walk around inspection, okay? Which you gotta point out all of the different parts on the truck, okay? You gotta do and that is what I can imagine how a person would say that is pretty difficult, okay? I would assume that you can find what parts you need to point out either in the book, or you would be able to ask the DMV how you would find that information. Where can, when you have them on the phone, that's one of the things you need to ask them. Where can I find the information that I need to be studying in order to pass my test? And they will gladly let you know, okay? So you need to do a walk-around inspection of the truck. When I did my walk-around inspection in Virginia, you start off from the front of the truck, you go around to one side, the passenger side of the engine compartment first. That's what I did. That's what we were taught in school. And then you come back to the driver's side of the engine compartment, and then you go down the left side of the truck, and then you go kind of behind the truck, kind of in between the truck and the trailer, and then you're going to go down the trailer and go to the back of the trailer, and then the other side, the passenger side of the trailer and the truck, they didn't actually make me go through that because it's all the same stuff that's on the left side, other than a few differences on the engine compartment, which you covered first. Okay, so that's your walk around inspection. All right, after that you're gonna need to do an in-cab inspection, which is less difficult. It's not that much stuff to memorize in the in-cab inspection. And then you're gonna have to do an air brake inspection, which isn't that difficult. The air brake inspection, if you understand how the air brakes work and what you need to know about, if you understand the air brake system on the truck, then the air brake test will make total sense to you. Okay, so that's not that difficult. All right, you need to pass a variety of backup tests. You need to pass the straight back, which is just back it up straight. You need to practice what's called the offset parking, which essentially, picture you are about to back into a space. Picture your truck and trailer, you're about to back into a certain door. You're about to back into door 19, okay? But you're, 2 truck lengths away from the door, okay? So you're about to back straight in, 2 truck lengths. That's how far you're about to back in. But instead of backing in the door 19, they tell you to back in the door 23. So now you gotta back the truck up kind of in an S shape. That's what an offset parking is. And then also you gotta do parallel parking. So picture you're in your car, you're on a busy street, parking is on the street parallel with the flow of traffic, and you're gonna pull up next to a parking space, a hole, and you're gonna pull up next to the car, and you're gonna back into the hole. That's also a test that I think they made us do when I took my driving test to get my regular driver's license when I was 16 years old. So those are the 3 different tests that we had to pass when I took my driving test in 2013. That is also something that changes from time to time. DMV regulates that. So that's another thing that you want to know from the DMV. Again, what requirements, everything is needed to know in order for you to be able to pass your test. Make sure you find that out from them or ask them to point you to the information. So after you do that, once you do that, you've got your medical card, you've passed your exam, okay? You've had a truck to practice on. So in Virginia, we did have the double clutch, okay? Again, this is another thing that the DMV could tell you, but we did have the double clutch. You could also call a driving school, and they may be willing to tell you some information. What are some specific requirements that the DMV has for passing the test in my state? Any of that information is going to be valuable to you. I'll be honest with you here at this point, I'm not 100% sure how I would have passed my CDL test and my exam. I'm not my test specifically if I hadn't have gone to school. I'm not sure how I would have been able to memorize all of the different things that I had to point out on the walk-around inspection and on the in-cab inspection. I'm not sure. I probably could have learned how to pass the 3 different backup tests. I'm sure the DMV would have told me that, and I could have practiced that on my dad's truck. But as far as pointing out all of the different parts, I took my test 3 years ago, and I couldn't point out all of those different parts to you right now. Okay, but that's something that you're not gonna remember. That you're gonna forget that. So I'm not sure how I would have done that without going to school, but I would think that is in the DMV book, the different parts that you need to point out. And if it's not in the DMV book, which I would assume it is, I would assume the DMV would be willing to point you in the direction of where you can find that. They supply, the information is out there, exactly what you need to do in your state. It's not like just the schools can tell you what backup tests you need to learn how to do in order to pass your CDL test. Okay, again, they change from time to time. So the school is not the only source of that information. That information is put out by the DMV, and that's where the school gets it from. So if the school can get it from them, I would assume you can get it from them as well. I got it from the school, but if you don't want to go to school, in Virginia, you can do everything you need to get your commercial learner's permit. You can do it right online. I don't know if you know that or not, but you can do everything online. The only thing you can do online is actually take your road test and all of that good stuff. But again, if you got access to a truck, you got access to people that have trucks, and you just not 100% sure what the process is that needs to happen in order for you to get your CDL, you kind of already, got somebody to practice on the trucks and all of that stuff, then you can do everything you need to do right online. As a matter of fact, check the description when you finish watching this video. I appreciate you watching the whole thing from front to back. I hope it was helpful to you. If it was, make sure you click the like button. But check the description, and I've assembled some resources, okay? And I'll link you over to them. Some helpful stuff. Some stuff straight from the DMV website, okay? That'll tell you exactly what you need to know from them in order to be able to get your learner's permit. So if you're looking to do that and you don't plan on going to school, you're looking for a way to get around going to school, you're looking for a way to not have to shell out all of that money, all those thousands of dollars it takes to go to school, make sure you check the link down in the description at the bottom of this video. Click it, check it out. And it's a bunch of helpful stuff in there. It's the link to the application that you can study. It's the link to some actual practice tests that you can study, and it's the link to a couple of the DMV pages straight on their website that'll tell you exactly what you need to do to get your CDL. So again, thanks for watching this video. My name is Maurice Bay. I hope you find it helpful. I hope to see you on the interstates.